Lean is going to mess you up. Alcohol is going to mess you up, but lean will steal your soul. I wanted to do a video on what is more dangerous, alcohol or lean. And it first comes down to understanding what lean is. Lean is a codeine cough syrup mixed with usually Sprite or some candy and a soda. It is a opiate drink, essentially is what it is. It's a party drink. When I was in high school, we'd make this at high school parties. When it comes to alcohol, alcohol is alcohol. What one of these two is more dangerous? Well, when it comes to lean, you have an opiate, which is the codeine. It also has an antihistamine to it, so you have the sedative side. So you have a opiate along with antihistamine mixed together in a drink that makes this extremely addictive. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. But what one is more dangerous? So when it comes down to danger between these two drinks, I will say this. Getting sober, alcohol is going to be the most dangerous. You have to respect alcohol's ability to kill you in DTs. It is one of the deadliest withdrawals. Alcohol and benzos are the two deadliest withdrawals that there are. It affects your central nervous system. But ultimately, if you were to put them hand in hand and you were to grab one, to me, lean is more dangerous. And the reason that lean is more dangerous is because opiate alone is very attractive. It makes you feel good. It relaxes your body. It produces some dopamine. It gives you some energy. It makes you feel good. It's like your body is taking a breath of fresh air almost is the best way that I can describe it. Especially because it is codeine. It's not there's different alkalines out there of ways of the opium produced and different areas of opium plants themselves. Of the codeine side of this is a softer, almost gentler side, which you don't feel the punch of it as strong as you do with something like Oxy. So it is kind of like getting stabbed in the back slightly by a knife and just somebody just digging it in your back and not realizing it is how it kind of hooks you in. And now, because of the antihistamine in it, antihistamines alone, like Benadryl itself, is actually addictive because if you take enough Benadryl at a certain point, it kind of becomes like Quaaludes, where you do hallucinate. There is an addictive factor to it. It helps with insomnia, all of that. So the antihistamine does relax your system. It works a little bit hand in hand with the opiate itself of codeine. So when you are drinking this, you're thinking that you're just drinking some drink. You're drinking soda, whatever it might be. You don't really realize what it is. It does taste a little bit funky. I will say this, when you do taste it, you can tell by the taste that somebody didn't just hand you some lace drink or it's not some fruity drink. For me, I could always tell that something was not right. You can taste the medicine sense in it. But it is very addictive and it hits you very easily. It hits you a lot harder and quicker than what alcohol does, especially when you're drinking beer. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, if you're sitting there lining up shots, you're taking shot after shot after shot, that's going to hit you very fast. But I'm talking about like just drinking a couple beers versus drinking, one or two cups of lean. Typically going to find it like in a solo cup. It is harder to find and harder to get than what alcohol is. Codeine cough syrup is not extremely common out there. And so you find somebody that has a bunk prescription or finding it in somebody's medicine cabinet because it is mainly prescribed one of the big ways to suppress, massive cough. So when it comes to side by side though, lean itself is going to bond to pain receptors. So alcohol does not bond to any of your brain neurotransmitters. It produces some dopamine, but it doesn't bond to anything. Where with a opiate drink, it's going to bond to neurotransmitters. So take it like your NMDA pain receptor right here. When it bonds to it, it relaxes it. Now, this is how opiates become addictive that people don't realize. Now that it's relaxed, when this leaves your system, this doesn't go back to normal. This goes to hyperexcited. So now you're dealing with pain. Now you're dealing with the physical attributes of what withdrawal of opiates is actually like. Now, opiates is one of the most addictive substances out there. When it comes to people that have been addicted to Oxy or to hydrocodone or Percocet, whatever, they're going to tell you that opiates themselves, in just a matter of a few uses, you can start to become slowly dependent on it because of how amazing it does make your body feel. With alcohol, your motor skills are so much more slowed down. You're not getting the full effect, almost physical body-wise, that you are getting with lean. You do know that you are getting messed up as you're drinking this, so it is a placebo high essentially that comes with it, but you do get some energy that comes with it also because of the dopamine that's initially created. But what it's doing and bonding to your brain can make it pretty soul-stealing for you. So in the ultimate danger of everything, I will say lean by far is 100 times more dangerous in my opinion something that you're going to get addicted to. And it doesn't go to just lean. It goes into, okay, now you're going to start popping opiates. Now you're going to start blues, M30s. It's an easy gateway into these opiates because your body's now chasing that feeling again. Your brain's chasing that feeling again of the relaxation, of the comfort of there's no pain. It's giving it some energy. And eventually it reverses. Eventually it reverses where there isn't really any energy with it. It's very sedative. Even when it comes to things such as oxy, even when it comes to heroin eventually. I mean, that's kind of the trickle-down effect that there is, and the long-term game, unfortunately, when it comes to drinking lean. Very easy to lead you into a pill addiction, which again, now, if you can't get pills, what do you go to next? Well, heroin's almost the next step, along with everything now is mixed with fentanyl. So fentanyl is extremely dangerous and extremely deadly. Nobody knows what they're doing when it comes to that. It's purely a synthetic. Very easy to find now in the United States. So that's scary. So to me, it is way more dangerous than alcohol, but yet we have this weird side of us that it is cough syrup. So it can't be that bad. That's a weird thing, is how we are kind of raised and how our brains work, thinking that alcohol probably should be a lot worse because it's addictive. You have to be over 21. There's this whole weird stigma that kind of goes with alcohol versus lean, where you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is all it is cough syrup. How bad could it really be? Where in reality, this is cough syrup that's going to snatch your soul from you. And this is just my opinion on it, but I do say that it is tremendously more addictive. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button, comment down below, because the more that we share about this, the more that we educate and share our experiences and our thoughts, the more that it helps addicts out there, the more that it helps people out there who are going through it. It's not extremely common to find people who do have like a Benadryl addiction or started off with lean, but it is out there. And it's something that the more that we share about this, the more that nobody goes through it alone, because it is a scary place to be, especially when you're an addict and you're starting off in addiction. You're starting to realize that you're addicted to something. It's very scary. It's very isolating. You don't know who to speak to. You don't know how to reach out for help. You might know that you have a problem. You don't know how to stop it. And it's a snowball effect. So it is scary. And that's why I think sharing and hearing other people's stories is very inspiring, and it helps a lot. The more that we share, the more that we educate of how we got sober or our rock bottoms, the more that it inspires people to go, I can actually get out of this. I can actually fight through this. And then there is no right or wrong way of getting sober. That's one of the things I think that really prisons a lot of people in, is thinking that there's a right or wrong way of getting sober. And there is not. It's your way of getting sober, whether it's inpatient treatment or outpatient treatment, whether it's going to therapy or going to a psychiatrist, going to a psychologist, getting on the right medications, AA, NA. There are so many different ways of getting sober, but it's finding what works for you. And we are all different. So some people might take all of that. For some people, it might take a little bit. But it's finding what works for you, and then hearing other people's experiences through it is, I think, the inspiring side of it that reminds us to push on, to carry on. With me, I know that I got sober through NA, through AA, through psychiatrists, through psychologists, through medication. Those were how I got sober. I did a little bit of inpatient, outpatient type work, but that was when I was also working for a rehab. So it is different for everybody. You have to find what works for you. Realize that there is no magic answer. And even then, lean was not my drug of choice. My drugs of choice were alcohol and cocaine. That was my obsession. That was my sickness. That's the insanity of addiction for us, is that we do have a drug of choice, and it's what draws us to it. When I drank lean, yeah, it made me feel good. It made me feel kind of just relaxed. But I also liked alcohol for whatever reason a lot more, because it was almost like I was doing something wrong with alcohol versus with lean. I wouldn't comprehend in my brain that I'm doing something that's going to screw me and mess me up, because to my head, it was just cough syrup. So to me, these are what the big differences are. Share your experiences. I'd love to hear what they are. Make sure that you follow along. And the more that we share, the more that we help nobody go alone. And for the one out there going through it right now, I'm proud of you. Don't give up. It does get better.